All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another upload. Here I have a video titled, She Ruined Her Marriage of Over a Decade and is Finally Seeing How She Messed Up. Let's get into it.
I can remember when I told my ex-husband I wanted a divorce. It was December 2019, and he was completely shocked, completely caught off guard, like dumbfounded, devastated, everything else. But the month before that, November of 2019, I remember very clearly having yet another talk with him about how unhappy I was. But this particular conversation, he was in his man cave room playing video games, which was like his favorite activity. And I go walking in and I tell him, like, I really want to talk about our marriage. Like, I'm not happy. It feels like we're roommates at this point. And
Notice how she tells him that at moments of his happiness, right? In his own man cave, playing games probably with his buddies. And then she's like, well, I'm unhappy. Let me go ruin his good time.
and I don't really have a partner, blah, blah, blah. This man was wearing his headphones because he was playing with a friend and they like talked to each other. He didn't even take his headphones off. He just pulled it off his right ear. This is almost 4 years ago now. I can still remember he pulled it off his right ear. And he didn't pause the game or stop playing. He continued to play a video game while his wife was standing in front of him, telling him how unhappy she was in the marriage. And I remember when he said to me something about like marriage being forever and whatever. And I said to him, well, maybe some marriages aren't meant to last. And he got so mad at me for saying that. But he didn't stop playing video games to have the conversation with me.
And that's the thing that's crazy, right? Because if that is your man's favorite pastime, his favorite hobby, you can tell how much she didn't have an interest in the thing that brings him joy. Any gamer would tell you that if even gamer, or even now that I have these headphones on, if somebody were to come into my room and have a conversation with me, I'm sliding one off. I'm not going to take the entire thing off. That's one. Number two, God, the amount of times that this has to be explained, especially in 2024, games are not only you anymore. You heard he was playing with a friend, so he can't pause it, obviously, if he's online. How crazy is that? You couldn't wait 5 to 10 minutes before you even have this conversation. And even that, you couldn't wait until after I was done with my man cave or after I was done enjoying my time. No, you wanted to come in there and you wanted to mess up my good time because you weren't having a good time.
And if that doesn't perfectly sum up why I divorced this man, then I don't know what does. And
good for him.
And I feel like this is a very common trend. I hear about this type of stuff a lot, where the wife had expressed her concerns for months or even years, and then when she finally says, all right, I've done everything I could do, I want a divorce, then the husband's like, what do you mean? What's happening? I love you. Please don't leave me. Please don't take my kids from me. It's like, bitch, you should have put in effort. You had the opportunity. We give you so many opportunities to do the right thing. You chose not to. This is now the repercussion.
There's a difference between putting forth effort and putting forth effort the way that you want it to be done. Completely different.
Of your actions. Am I wrong?
A relationship ends between two people. You part ways. And that also means that you are both going to be at different levels in your processing of the grief, of the death of what once was, and all of that. And even months or years later, there can be certain triggers that pop up and you're like, whoa, I thought I dealt with that shit. Do not go back into the story that you want them or miss them or can't make it without that other person. Oftentimes what those triggers are trying to show you is that there's something unresolved within you that you need to address. And for me, watching my ex thrive, it's a beautiful thing, but it's really triggering for me.
Oh, God.
Because I walked away with literally having to start over.
It's only triggering to her because he's doing well and she's not doing well. Crazy.
After 12 years of starting over, of wondering if I'm going to be able to keep a roof over my head with my boys, and not being able to just go out and play in our backyard like we used to.
Okay.
Right. So you can't do any of those things, and your life is in turmoil because of you. You decided not only to destroy your family, the backyard that you used to have, but you decided to take your boys with you. So not only on your decline, you brought your boys with you. You had all those things. That's the crazy thing. It's like they can't go through this alone. They have to say, oh, I'm taking the children too. And it's like, how's that working out for you? Now you're triggered because his life is fine and you're over here struggling. It really shows you who was the real problem in the relationship.
So all this video tells me is that you were the problem.
Facts.
You were the one holding him back from whatever it was that he was trying to accomplish or do. Now that you're saying that he's thriving after the fact, there was something there that continued to hold that man back from thriving and being successful. And
her mentality.
This is what's crazy about a lot of these women that are filing for divorce, is they're not thinking through the aftermath of what's going to come, what's going to happen. You can't expect to continue to be a stay-at-home mom, to live a great lifestyle, whatever it was that you were able to have as a married woman with a husband doing whatever he was doing. That lifestyle will not continue. Even if you do get half of his money, you're still missing that other half. So whatever it is that you are now missing, whatever it is that you think that, it's a pity party, because now that you walked away from the marriage, you don't know how you're going to keep a roof over your head. Well, then maybe it's time to rethink what the heck you could have done differently.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but there's so many videos out here now that it honestly seems to me that a lot of these women are regretting their decisions. Do not go and get a divorce just because of a feeling that you have. Because a lot of feelings are just temporary. It doesn't make any sense to destroy the life that you built with your husband just because of a temporary feeling. And now you're on TikTok crying, talking about you don't know how you're going to afford to keep the roof over your head.
And let's talk about that, right? Because it's not them walking away for their own happiness. They're destroying a family. And when you destroy a family, that's like, it has a radius. Other people get affected just by being around that decision. And at the end of the day, you realize you're not even happy anymore. And so that's the craziest thing. It's like you done ruined a lot of their chances for your children, because statistically speaking, we know the stats. Their children thrive under two-parent households, not single-parent households, right? So not only did you destroy that, but you destroyed your own stability and security. And you can tell where they get this from, right? She was probably on the internet and TikTok, YouTube, whatever, watching all these other wives or these single boss babes talk about how life is so great, or if your man's not doing this, you should leave him. And it's like, you know what? My man's not doing this, even though I didn't communicate that I want these things, but I think he should just be a mind reader and understand exactly what I want. And then she left. And then guess what? His life continued to thrive and her life continued to go in a downward spiral.
Does that make sense? Like, come on now. This is just crazy.
Me calling my ex-husband while we were separated because I was having a panic attack and he was my safe person.
Oh my God. Please tell me you guys aren't doing this. She divorced, broke up, destroyed her family, and now in her desperate times and needs, she needs to call you and you're going to be there for her. Crazy.
Him coming to pick me up even though I was the one divorcing him. I completely understand this. I did it several times. I struggle with the sadness of the decision, but it was needed. So your ex-husband is needed, but he's your ex-husband. Mine didn't come. I go through them alone now, and it hurts every time.
Good. He shouldn't come. You destroyed it.
There is a disconnect happening where women are leaving their men yet expecting them to stay and keep performing their husbandly duties. Do you think if he called her having a panic attack that she'd even pick up the phone?
Exactly. If he called her one day and said, you know what, I'm just really in the mood, or I'm really going through something, you think she's coming through, bro? No, bro. That's the thing that's sad, is the fact that we look at those men as like, bro, he's honorable. Even though she destroyed it and she needed him, he came through for her, and we applaud that. But it's like, bro, we're applauding him rewarding bad behavior. You know what I'm saying? When we look at it that way, we're like, because if those roles were reversed, we know she's not sliding through for you.
Being expected to constantly provide and care for people who have given up on them is not good for men's souls and their growth. It is beating them down mentally. Men already feel overlooked for their personalities and love to give, and feel more used for what they can provide, and crap like this is exactly why. Even if it's not your intention, it is so incredibly manipulative to break up with a guy and then expect him to console you through the breakup. Stop using your exes as free therapists. Move on and let them move on in peace.
I think even in society, we're taught that like when a divorce happens, you failed. And oh, I failed.
You did. You failed.
Oh, that was the hardest thing to face. Also because I couldn't speak to people about it. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional. I couldn't speak.
Of course you're getting emotional, because those emotions are tied to your failure.
To people about it because I didn't have the safety net of the home base to lean on. His family became my family. But when the divorce happened, I knew that eventually that was going to fade. And I think that, not to take away from who he was in my life, but that was so painful. I was losing the family members that I grew so close to, that validated my feelings, that listened to me.
The question is, who asked for the divorce? Statistically, 80% of the time, it's the women. This speaks volumes about the modern mindset regarding marriage and commitment. The new generation seems to think divorce is a quick fix, a way out of any relationship issues, without considering the long-term consequences. They believe the grass is greener on the other side until reality starts hitting hard.
Exactly. Until reality starts hitting hard. This is why, as a man, it's very important that you have a master plan for your life. And your master plan, of course, can include a woman in there. But again, it is replaceable at the end of the day. That's why the other person that we watched, the moment she divorced him, her life went into turmoil and his life kept going and kept improving, because he had a whole plan for his life. He had a financial plan for his life and direction for himself. However, she didn't. And she was like, oh, I'm just going to take me and my 2 children and I'm going to find and latch on to a new man who's going to treat me even better, have more money, be even taller. You guys know. And guess what happened? Reality hit. No, you're not. You should have stayed in your marriage. So listen, guys, what do you guys think about this? Let me know down in the comments. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next one. All right. Peace out.